The southern leg of the Keystone XL pipeline is now operational. After 18 months of construction, the pipeline opened on January 22nd. Hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil are flowing through the pipeline from Cushing to the Gulf Coast each day. I talked to Joe Wirtz of State Impact Oklahoma, who has been following this story. Joe, why is opening the southern leg of the pipeline so important?
Well, there's a lot of oil that's been stockpiling in Cushing, Oklahoma, one of the most important trading hubs on the continent. It's been stockpiled there. There's a big glut of oil at Cushing. That really hurts the price of oil for Oklahoma producers. So being able to get that oil out of Cushing on its way to refineries on the Gulf Coast of Texas will go a long way to helping stabilize the price, allow producers and energy traders here to find better markets for their oil.
So the oil is flowing to the Gulf Coast, but are there sufficient refineries to process it once it gets there?
Boy, that's a really good question. No, the short answer is no. Refineries, the country does not have as many refineries as it once did. Most of the refining capacity now in the country is in the Texas Gulf Coast, so that's where we've got the big concentration of them. But there isn't enough. There's not enough for all the oil coming out of Cushing. So what analysts are saying is that we could see another glut. So really Oklahoma's glut of oil could just move south down to Texas because we just don't have the refining capacity. They are building new refineries there. It's exceedingly difficult now to get all the permits and with all the regulations to build new refineries. So they're building new ones, but it's just not going to come online fast enough.
It took a while, though, for the southern leg to be built and opened.
Boy, it did, about 18 months. Obama, as you remember, came to Oklahoma and promised to cut through the red tape and expedite the southern portion of the Keystone pipeline. Of course, it's kind of an easy promise for him to make because he didn't really have anything to do with it. The wheels were already in motion and this pipeline was being built. So it's still a pretty quick turnaround to build this pipeline, and yeah, the oil is flowing right now.
The Obama administration, though, is having something to do with the northern leg of the pipeline. What's the status of that?
Absolutely. The northern leg from Canada that would end up in Cushing, connecting there. It crosses the international boundary there, so the president does have to sign off on it. It's still in limbo. Reports should be issued imminently, the next round of sort of environmental studies from the State Department on that. And whatever is in that report is supposed to, the tenor and tone in that report is supposed to be sort of a prediction of what John Kerry and President Obama are thinking on this thing. Of course, environmentalists and the proponents in the oil industry going back and forth on what they think is going to be in this report. But we still don't know. There's still environmental concerns.
And that's been delayed in part by concerns from the state of Nebraska.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely right. The Sandhills region in Nebraska, very ecologically, environmentally sensitive area. Environmentalists there were particularly worried about the Keystone in that part of Nebraska. This, encouraged Obama to slow down that process, and it's been in limbo ever since.
So where does it go from here?
Well, that's a good question. Oklahoma has an interest in seeing the northern portion approved. Obviously, a lot of Oklahoma companies, Continental Resources, for example, in North Dakota, one of the biggest drillers in North Dakota, would like to see this reliable crude oil transportation that it would offer. So Oklahoma does have an interest in seeing this northern portion approved, but it's so political now. We're talking about jobs and the environment. These are hot-button issues. As you remember, during the last presidential election, this little pipeline project became this major political football. So we're talking, jobs numbers. Is it going to create as many jobs as they say it is? Is it as ecologically bad? It's just all politics now, and we're just going to have to wait and see.
And it's not just about the environment. There is also a national impact involved, national security.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, oil is a prime component of national security. Energy is a big deal. And when we're talking about now, Congress is talking about lifting this crude oil ban that's been in place since the 1970s. And that has to do with the global energy markets here. It does get very tricky, very geopolitical. Ultimately, John Kerry and the president have to decide, is this pipeline in the national interest? What does that mean? Who knows? It is ultimately a political decision that's going to have to be made.
Joe Wirtz from State Impact Oklahoma, thank you.
Thank you.